I'm Marcus Thompson, and in 15 years leading rescue operations across East Africa, I've learned that darkness changes everything about wildlife behavior. But there was one night operation in the remote deserts of northern Kenya that tested every piece of equipment we had and reminded me why nocturnal rescues require a completely different level of preparation. If you've ever experienced how the African night transforms familiar landscapes into something completely alien and dangerous, you'll understand this story. Share in the comments about times when darkness challenged your courage. These moments teach us that true bravery isn't the absence of fear, but action despite it. This happened 5 months ago in the Chalbi Desert region near Marsabit, during what started as a routine livestock monitoring patrol with the Gabra pastoralist community. What became an emergency night rescue involving a prized breeding camel and a coalition of desert-adapted lions taught me crucial lessons about predator behavior in extreme environments. This is case file 231, and I'm sharing the story because sometimes our most challenging rescues happen when we can barely see the danger, and every decision must be made with incomplete information. Subscribe if you want more stories about night operations and the specialized skills required for desert wildlife conservation, the moments when our equipment and training are pushed to their absolute limits. The emergency call came at 9:47 p.m. from Abdi Hassan, the Agabra Dantu whose community had worked with us on the drought relief operations in case file 189. His voice carried the controlled urgency of someone accustomed to desert dangers but facing something unprecedented. "Marcus, we need your help immediately. Our best breeding camel, Dolmar, is trapped by lions in the rocky outcrop near Culture. It's a female with more than our entire herd and she's pregnant. The lions appeared from nowhere, like dirt spirits. They've cornered her against the rocks where they're hunting differently than any lions we've seen. They moved like shadows, perfectly coordinated for this terrain." My first thought was that Abdi had encountered the rare desert-adopted lions that occasionally ventured into Kenya's northern regions from the Kalahari populations. These cats develop specialized hunting techniques for arid environments. "Abdi, how many lions are we dealing with, and what's the camel's current condition?" 3 lions, all large. Dalmatis uninjured, but exhausted from defending herself through the 2 hours. She's backed against a cliff face with nowhere to retreat. I assembled my night operations team, knowing this would require our most advanced equipment and expertise in low-light predator management. Sarara immediately prepared medical supplies for both large herbivore stress treatment and potential predator bite wounds. "This piece requires perfect coordination in near-zero visibility," I explained to the team during our emergency drive to Chalbi Desert. "Desert lions help differently, and at night every advantage belongs to them." Mike was preparing our thermal agent equipment, night vision scopes, and specialized lighting systems designed not to interfere with animal behavior. Boss thermal imaging shows 3 heat signatures circling a larger one that are maintaining a hunting formation. Sarah was reviewing camel physiology and stress management protocols on monitoring our radio communications with the Gabra Tabist community. "Marcus, pregnant camels are extremely vulnerable to stress-induced complications. Time is critical." When we reached Culture area, even our headlights couldn't penetrate the complete darkness of the desert night. The rocky outcrops created deep shadows where anything could be hiding. Through thermal imaging, we could see the situation clearly. 3 lions maintaining a perfect ambush formation on a large camel pressed against a rocky cliff face, unable to escape or to send defensively. Thermal confirms 3 adult lions, coordinated positioning. The camel is showing signs of exhaustion with no visible injuries. Abdi's community provided crucial context from that human observation and precision. They've been testing their defense for hours. These lions are intelligent. They know the desert gives them advantages we've never seen before. Our night intervention required completely distant tactics and beta and rescues. We couldn't use our usual visual gerunds, and every movement had to account for the lion's superior vision and intimate knowledge of the terrain. Priority is breaking the ambush formation without triggering a coordinated attack. We need to convince that this hunt isn't worth the energy expenditure. The initial approach was nerve-wracking. Desert lions are incredibly efficient predators, and the silence and the darkness made tracking their movements almost impossible without thermal limiting. If you've ever had to navigate a life or death situation and complete the afters, you understand how every sound becomes amplified, and every decision carries enormous weight.
Let me know in the comments about times when you had to trust your equipment and clearing in impossible conditions. The experiences define what separate amateurs from professionals. Mike use of infrared strobes, invisible to human eye but detectable by cats, created confusion in the line coordination without causing panic on the Camel. Line that responded to infrared rush, Mike reported, monitoring the heat filters. The formation breaking down, there had been tablet coordinates in the tags. Sheriff's approached the alarm moment memory unit, requiring incredible precision and darkness. We had to get as close as we to set the Camel's condition without triggering the defensive charge from either the predators or the prey. Camel issuing severe stress but no physical trauma, Sarah announced, and using Captain Night Vision equipment to examine Telmar from a safe distance. Heart rate is elevated, but she's holding that defensive position very well. The most critical moments came when we utilized Night Watchers hunting. They were testing our response, learning whether human represented a threat that meant authority or possibly another factor in their hunting equation. Using coordinated light patterns and solid deterrents, separately calibrated with feline hearing, we managed to convince the lead lion that the particular hunt had become more trouble than it was worth. The iron addition raging, I announced that thermal imaging showed the largest heat signature we believed to know away from the ambush formation. The others were following his lead. One by one, the three lions melted back into the desert darkness, their departures as silent and coordinated as their arrival. Within minutes, the thermal signatures disappeared completely into the rocky terrain. Lions have it learned, Mike conferred, scanning the area thermal imaging. No heat signature detected from that perimeter. The immediate threat is masked. Charlotte immediately was Talma, him trembling with exhaustion, but somehow physically in sheath. The pregnant Callum's relief was evident as she recognized hidden voices and presence. She is dehydrated and stressed, but physically unharmed. The pregnancy appears stable. She is going to need careful monitoring the next 2 days. Obvious unity emerged from that leading position to the mixture of gratitude and amazement. In all our declarations of this visit, we've never seen lion thought this way or a human despontos threat. Case file 231 taught me that night operations require not just different equipment, but an interpreted mindset about risk assessment and predator behavior in extreme environments. I know sure there are not rescue protocols include dead-fitted equipment and training for low visibility large raptor management. Mine has developed specialized thermal imaging techniques for tracking multiple predators simultaneously. This case reinforced me in standing, but observation would never stop. Even when darkness makes every challenge eventually more different. But here's what's truly stayed with me. The absolute trust our mixed community placed in our ability to solve a problem that generations of dead listeners could not address. 2 weeks later, Delmar gave birth to a healthy soul, and both mother and baby are thriving under the careful watch of the Gabra community, who now consider themselves as survival against impossible odds. Casualty curfew and influence our night operations protocols for every subsequent desert rescue, including the Sun operation in case 4178 and the night Conra incident in his file G43. This case also taught me that some of our most important that happens in the darkness, where courage and technology must work together to protect the animals when nowhere else turn. If you want more stories about night rescues and the specialized equipment that makes impossible operations possible, let me know in the comments which desert survival it inspires you the most. Subscribe and hit the bell because next week I'm opening a file about a rescue that happened during a massive sandstorm where visibility was zero and every effort bent our last. This is just one file from my 15 years in the field. If you want me to share more cases about extreme conditions that test every limit aboard life conservation, especially stories about operations where technology and traditional knowledge had to work together, let me know which stories hit them next. These cases prove that protecting wildlife means being ready for any environment, any time of day, because animals don't choose many moments that need our help.